Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. Hope everyone is doing well out there this morning and having an awesome start to your Monday. Great start to your week, and I certainly hope everyone had a great weekend. Here to give you some updated information on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Monday. Expecting snow, a lot of heavy rain, and even a severe weather threat. Luckily, yesterday's severe weather threat did not really materialize very well in a good way. So, we had that upgrade to an enhanced risk like we kind of thought we were, and then it just did not materialize. So that's really good news. I was kind of worried that we were going to potentially have a little bit of a tornado outbreak across areas to the south. The ingredients certainly were there. It just did not materialize. Thank goodness. So, moving past that, we do have a severe weather threat for today. No warnings out there right at this moment. That could change a little bit later this morning and just throughout the day in general. We'll speak on that threat. We'll give you a huge update on this winter storm. We'll have a separate segment for the Northeast, but we will have segments on the winter weather side of this for like Tennessee, Kentucky, and areas of West Virginia. But once we get to that Northeast kind of tab on this video, I'm not going to give an update on the winter storm in that tab. Like I said, I'm going to have a separate segment at the end, once we get past today's portion of the forecast video. So, so with that being said, if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below, folks. I have not answered any comments from over the weekend. So I'm very behind. That's been the common theme for the weekend. I just don't have a lot of time to sit down for an hour or so and read the comments, but I will get caught up a little bit later today. So let's get rocking and rolling. We have a lot of rain. It's raining cats and dogs here at my house right now. It's raining pretty good. We've had some rumbles of thunder. I live here in central South Carolina. Rain has begun to overspread into North Carolina. We even have some flash flood warnings in areas of Alabama and Georgia. No real severe weather right now, but we will watch this area down here later today. We'll speak on that. And here's that upper level low. It is completely separated from this main area of rain. Pretty wild kind of structure here, but this was expected. We did have some changes. You guys will have to let me know what you're seeing in like northern Arkansas, Missouri, northeast Oklahoma. We had upgrades to winter storm warnings in northwest Arkansas yesterday evening. Pretty wild. Let me know what you end up seeing in this area. It's a very small, compact winter weather event. So you guys, please let me know what you saw in Oklahoma City last night. I haven't heard anything. I haven't woke up and heard about anything in Oklahoma whatsoever. So you guys let me know what your final tallies were. Did it overachieve? Did it underachieve? I would love to know. But the Northeast is pretty quiet ahead of this system that's going to move in tonight. The Pacific Northwest, Northern Rockies, a little bit of moisture. Not a big deal, though, at all. Let's be able to talk here. This Storm Prediction Center, even thinking about it, I couldn't speak. Storm Prediction Center has us at a slight risk down here in the southeast today. It includes all of the panhandle of Florida, areas of North Florida, central and southern Georgia, and it continues to be up for areas of southern Alabama, at least through the morning hours. This extends all the way into the low country and southern Midlands of South Carolina. This includes Charleston down to Savannah, Georgia, and all these areas right in here. We do have a tornado threat. We have a 5% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in a given location today. So, continue to take this serious. I don't expect an upgrade to an enhanced risk today. I really don't. You never know. 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour in this yellow area. And then the hail threat is there, but not near as high as what we've seen over the last few days. Just a 5% risk of hail. But we do have a slight risk, which means in the yellow, it means we have at least a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being met, and we're already seeing flooding this morning. So take the flooding risk serious. I'm honestly surprised we don't even have a little bit of a moderate risk up in areas of Alabama and Georgia. But watches, warnings, advisories, we have the winter storm warnings up for several counties in Arkansas in the pink, and Missouri, and a couple counties in northeast Oklahoma. So you guys have to just let me know what you see in this area this morning. It's already snowing right now in certain sections. But the interesting thing is, we saw this yesterday evening. We have winter weather advisories extended all the way into Kentucky now. Several counties in southern Indiana, a few counties in southern and southwest Ohio, and several counties in southern sections of Illinois. What we watch for today, the changes that could happen between when I make this video and just throughout the next 12 hours, is that we get winter weather advisories extended down to Tennessee. And I think there's a possibility, and I'll talk about why in this video. Flood watch is up and everybody in the green, well, we're just about everybody's already seeing heavy rain in this area. We got high wind warnings up for the higher elevations of the apps, wind advisories, and more of this kind of tan color. And then you got the winter storm warnings up. We'll take a closer look at this here later in the video. Up for areas of the Northeast, southern New England, even some winter storm warnings up for sections of western Maryland, even a couple counties in Virginia. So pretty active morning out there right now. I'm talking about the Southeast first. We'll take that broad look at it here. Watch how all this rain just continues to move into Georgia. And really, you watch anybody south of these storms. This is where your best ingredients will be. You watch all these storms down here in the panhandle of Florida too. Just a good soaking rain up into South Carolina, the Carolinas, but you cannot rule out a strong to severe storm or two. Mainly rain up in North Carolina, the Piedmont, into the eastern sections of North Carolina. We continue to roll through the afternoon. We could get a line of storms that gets going here in North Florida. Heads towards like Jacksonville later this evening. Could get some more rumbles of thunder even behind this main push of rain that moves through kind of central and North Georgia, through the upstate of South Carolina, and then eventually into western North Carolina. And there's that snow right here that we'll talk about here in a second also. And then this pulls on off. But a closer look at where I think we could get the strong to severe storms today is down here. You basically got this open sector here in South Georgia, northern Florida, that I'm the most concerned about. Any storms that could tap into this environment down here, and I'm not going to dive deep into the ingredients or anything. You're going to be very humid down here for February standards, and you're going to have the ingredients for severe weather. Anything that can take advantage of this environment in this sector right here will have a chance to, potentially produce a tornado, some damaging winds. Up here, I don't think you're going to clear out enough. That's why I think they kind of cut down the severe weather threat for South Carolina. I think you're going to just stay mainly rain. The atmosphere will remain pretty stable. But you keep this going throughout the day, and there's that line of storms making its way through. You just got to watch out. Pay attention to warnings in Tallahassee, southern sections of Georgia today. You got to watch any of these storms. They could have some rotation with them, and then these clear on outs. And by the time we get into this evening, I think we're for the most part done with the severe weather. But you could have some more storms that kind of make their way through Georgia and South Carolina later tonight. The updraft Felicity swath, this indicates rotation with these storms. It's not really kind of jumbled up together in one specific area, but you do want to watch in just these little areas right here where you see the colors. In general, just take the warning serious if you do get them today. There will be a lot of rain. Just anywhere from 2 to as much as 4 inches of rain. I think 4 inches might be pushing it. 3.5 inches of rain is possible through North Georgia. I mean, some of this has already fell through South Carolina. We picked up almost an inch of rain already at my house here in Lexington, South Carolina. Southeast North Carolina, a few inches of rain is expected. Just a lot of rain in this corridor right in here between Georgia and the Carolinas. Go up and talk about the snow portion of this, and we'll go on and just give you an update on Tennessee, Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, and Ohio, and then even talk about West Virginia. Just good old rain to start it off this morning to this afternoon. But the HRRR model says once you get to about 5, 6 p.m., like here in the next 12 hours or so, you have a chance to switch to some heavy, wet snow. Do I believe this? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with this. I've seen weirder things happen, but if you do switch to snow in this little comma head area right here, it's going to be heavy, wet, fat, cotton ball-like snowflakes. And it could accumulate, it could surprise some people. I mean, you could even see it in Memphis. So, here it is in like western Tennessee. Look, you see how you have the blue embedded into the green? That's where it's showing you where we could have dynamic cooling. We could have precipitation rates could be heavy enough to really crash the column, cool all levels of the atmosphere, and this could fall as heavy, wet snow. And then in tune, it will try to cool down the surface temperatures. Well, we'll keep it snow. But you start to get to about 9 p.m., this brings a heavy band of snow into Nashville. I don't know if I believe this. This is kind of one of those situations where I'm not quite sure if I believe this. But we got to watch it. But, up here in Lexington, I can tell you this has shifted south. Down here, band of heavy snow possible could make its way all the way through Kentucky. And then we start to get to about 11 p.m. Look at this. This is the Cumberland Plateau. You got snow entering the Cumberland Plateau, starting to move out of Nashville. Look at this snow right in the heart of Tennessee, right in here. Look at this axis of snow kind of moving out Bowling Green. It's affecting Lexington, Kentucky. This is some heavy wet snow if it falls as snow. I'm not even going to show you what the HRRR model is showing as far as snowfall accumulations. It's outrageous. But because they just kind of can overdo it sometimes. I like the way it can look, but as far as snowfall accumulations, the output of it is always just a little bit too much. But this continues. We get into after midnight, brings a few hour period of heavy wet snow into areas of the Cumberland Plateau. Look at the snow once again, almost all the way down. I always joke around and call northern Alabama, Montana. It even tries to almost get it down there. Then we get some snow into the Rockies. The Smokies. The higher elevations of North Carolina and Tennessee. And then we start to move this into, West Virginia. I knew it was going to switch to that. We'll start move this into West Virginia. And what does it look like? And here it comes. All rain at first tonight. And then, you could go to sleep if you live in West Virginia tonight and it's just raining. There's not a whole lot going on. You might wake up to snow on the ground. Here comes a band of snow. This is around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. Look at the snow moving through Boone, potentially down here in the far northeast corner of Tennessee. It's very possible. Western Virginia, heavy rain switching to heavy snow for a couple hour period in West Virginia. And then this moves on out. So this is going to be something to watch. The blend of all models, I kind of like what it's showing. It's a little bit further south compared to the National Weather Service forecast. The blend of all models likes the idea of some light accumulations down here in Tennessee, even like an inch of snow showing up in certain areas. And then a couple inches of snow throughout Kentucky, depending on your elevation and just where you are and all those good stuff. But the National Weather Service doesn't throw much of a bone down here to Tennessee, but they have, put a few tenths of an inch of snow. I would watch, if you live in Tennessee, watch for things to change throughout the day. This is kind of one of those situations where things could evolve throughout the day and certainly change. A couple inches of snow is possible, though, in northern Kentucky now. I mean, Lexington, Kentucky, maybe an inch and a half of snow. So, and, you look at something like the GFS, it really wants to just give you pockets of heavy, heavy snow. I don't know if I believe this. It's ridiculous, these little pockets of heavy snow. So let's just stick to the conservative route in this area, because I just think that it's a little bit overdone otherwise. I really do. But you look at the National Weather Service for West Virginia, it really hits Western Maryland pretty good. And just the higher elevations of West Virginia have seen an increase in snowfall totals for sure. A few inches of snow is possible. And yes, in southern Ohio, half an inch to an inch of snow is possible in southern Ohio. Maybe someone can slide in 2 inches of snow. Blend of all models, not a whole lot different with this. So Northeast, we're only going to go out to about this evening, and then we're going to have an extension of this winter storm update for an entirely different timestamp in this video. But as we're getting into midday today, some showers will begin to enter the Mid-Atlantic, the Delmarva region. And then as we take it all the way to about later this evening, I'm talking about like 10 p.m., rain will begin to move into southern PA. And then this is where we could switch to that snow up here. Okay, a little bit of snow in southern Ohio later tonight. And then we'll stop it right here. At this point, you got some bright banding going on, heavy rain moving into northern West Virginia, southeast sections of Pennsylvania. And we'll stop it right here. You can see there's some snow starting to fall. But between now and then, mainly rain. It's that final 6 hours of the Monday period, I guess you would say, of the next 24 hours that we start to see some snow. So, this is kind of what's going on right now. You guys will have to let me know, but the HRRR model is saying that, this little upper level low will continue to swing through, dump a several hour period of snow in areas of northern and northwest Arkansas. Snow will have a chance to fall in southern sections of Missouri. Do you get any snow in the Boot Hill? It's going to be close, but let's just take a closer look at this. Here's this little feature right in here. Let's just go on and switch it to let's see, go back to that. First off, let's look at what's actually falling. So, yep, you're reporting snow north of Springdale. You're snowing in Bella Vista, and there's that little spin, the little upper level low spin. Mixed rain and snow over here just northeast of Branson. No report out of Springfield yet, but you're starting to see the snow. And this is just pockets of heavy snow. But when it is going to be snowing, it has a chance to snow pretty hard. But there's not many reports out of this region yet, but it is reporting snow up here in the northwest corner of Arkansas. So we'll kind of just continue this, and as we get into about late morning, it's about 10, 11 a.m., snowing pretty good. And it's not a huge area, but if you notice the pockets of oranges and yellows, that really indicates to me that when it is snowing, it's going to be snowing pretty hard, like those heavy, wet snowfall rates, the cotton ball looking snowflakes. Springfield, it's kind of shifted a little bit further south, but if you can get this banding that shows up, it could snow pretty good for about 2 to 3 hours. And guys, when it is snowing, it could be inch and a half per hour rates. It could be. That's just the dynamics of the system. And what is it going to do as this moves forward? Like into the Boot Hill, Missouri? Not sure, but the HRRR model completely whiffs southern Illinois. So I would say that if you're in southern Illinois, the snowfall forecast, you're calling for an inch right now. You might not even get that. But the National Weather Service in this area between now and the duration of the rest of this event, they're still going for like 4 to 6 inches of snow. I don't know if I believe that, but you guys have to let me know what you see. This is kind of a now thing. By the time I upload this video, it'll be almost 8:30, so 7:30 y'all's time. So you guys have to let me know what you see in Springfield, Point South, Northwest Arkansas, this entire region right in here. Let me know what you see in this little section of the world right here. The north central U.S., the only thing to speak on is some snow showers, some lake-enhanced snow that's going to fly off Lake Superior in the UP of Michigan today. Some of this could drift into northern Wisconsin and even northern lower Michigan. This could add some light snowfall accumulations throughout the late night period, later this evening into the overnight hours. And then we'll have a little bit of energy kind of just flying across the board here. And the Dakotas and even northern sections of Nebraska could get a little bit of a wintry mix from this, but I don't expect much of a big deal at all. A couple inches of snow possible in the UP of Michigan, so be aware of that. The western U.S., it's very quiet out here. There's not a whole lot to speak of. Some snow is going to fly around in northern Idaho, maybe some snow showers out there in the Cascades. Snow is possible in western Montana, a little bit of snow in the northeast corner of Montana is very possible. I don't think this will add up to much, but there will be a front that kind of flies down into Montana that could produce some gusty winds into Montana later on today, or later tonight really, but not expecting much. We'll even kind of show you how much snow is expected between now and then. And that's the HRRR model. It's not what I want to see here, but certainly between now and the next 30 hours or so, several inches of snow is possible up in the higher terrain of the northern Rockies. So, temperatures, it's still a relatively warmer than average day in the Northeast with a winter storm about to move in. Some areas will hit the 50s. Some areas will hit the 50s, guys, where it'll snow tonight. So you're going to think there's no way it's going to snow. Well, ask your friends down here in the south central U.S. what happened the day before and then the night of. So that doesn't mean anything necessarily. It could make it struggle with accumulating, but that's about it. The southeast, a rainy, warmer than average day, and it just continues to be well above average in the middle of the country. And same thing out west. The general theme is above average temperatures. So let's give you an update on the northeast as far as this winter storm. We'll take a look at the HRRR model first, compare it against the Euro. We will kind of move through this, a little bit quicker than we normally do, just with the timing issues right now. But we keep this going. We kind of extend this from what we just talked about with the Northeast. The HRRR model, we'll get it to this is about 4 o'clock in the morning. The HRRR model says, short range model says you're switching to heavy, heavy wet snow in western Maryland, those higher elevated regions. Central, all the areas you see in blue in Pennsylvania, it's snowing. You're trying to switch to that heavy snow in West Virginia. Look at the snow starting to fall in northern Connecticut, areas of Massachusetts. But one thing I want you to notice is the HRRR model says, as you're waking up for around 7 a.m., that's always the pivotal point as far as waking up on a morning time. That area you see right into here, that pinkish orangish color, that is you're struggling with a mixture between rain and snow. I don't think there's going to be much. There's not going to be any freezing rain with this type of setup. Could be some sleet. I don't think I see freezing rain in this setup. But at this point, you're waking up Tuesday morning. It's snowing like crazy an hour north of New York City. Snow's starting to move into Boston. I know it shows green, but that's probably snow. Southern New England, it is starting to snow hard. And the southern sections of New York State snowing hard. Scranton snowing like crazy. Binghamton, you're right on the fringe. Snowing good in State College. And yeah, snowing pretty good in just Pennsylvania in general. You keep this going, you take it to about, let's take it to about 11 a.m. You're getting into an all-out snowstorm in Boston, southern New England. How far north will the snow get into Vermont, New Hampshire, up to Albany, up to the Adirondacks? Will it get there? We're not sure. But what I can tell you is the HRRR model's still saying you're struggling with a mixture in New York City and even Long Island. You're kind of right in the changeover zone. But you're starting to switch to snow in like Philadelphia, some backside cold airs moving in. You're switching to snow in all of eastern PA. Will you get a band of snow down to Baltimore and D.C.? You know, a couple of days ago I said no chance, no chance. Now I say there is a chance. But I didn't think Delaware had a chance. Now it says Delaware, maybe the HRRR model says maybe tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, you get to a period of some heavy wet snow. And then finally, New York City, around midday tomorrow, switches to heavy wet snow for a few to several hour period. It's still snowing like crazy in Boston. Snow's starting to get up into southern sections of Maine. And yeah, it turns into a quick period. I think that when it does switch to snow, you could have inch per hour rates in New York City. And then this continues, and then this really goes off with a bang, I think, in areas of southeast, southern New England and southeast Mass, and then it heads on off into Atlantic Canada. What about the Euro? The Euro is a little bit different with this, folks, and I'll show you what I mean. As we are getting into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow morning, I mean, it might start off with some rain in New York City, but it immediately goes to snow Tuesday morning in New York City. I'm comparing a short-range model with a global model, and I think that's a cool thing to do in this case just because there's still some disagreements. You got a 984 millibar low. Look at this heavy snow falling in PA. I mean, that's a sure bet. You're switching to all snow in West Virginia. You're going to get some snow in the higher elevations also of Virginia. Look at the rain switching to snow in northern Maryland, north of Baltimore and D.C. And look, I mean, this is the difference here. There's a 6-hour difference about, give or take an hour. The HRRR model says you're going to be raining when you wake up tomorrow morning in New York City. The Euro says snowstorm moving in. Rain switches to snow. And you keep this going, and it's snowing like crazy in New York City by the time we get to the middle to later portion of tomorrow morning. Look at that axis of that heavy snow band. Inch and a half per hour rates if the Euro is right. And look at it snowing in northern Maryland. Snowing almost down into Baltimore at this point. I don't know if I believe that. I could see it snowing. I don't know about accumulations. But we'll see. Midday Tuesday, I mean, if the European is right, you get an all-out snowstorm in New York City. And the National Weather Service is liking that idea now. And I'm going to show you, they've bumped up the snowfall totals for New York City substantially. And then you continue, still get a good event for southern New England. And then it's still snowing in New York City. And you keep this going, guys, and by the time we get into Tuesday evening, the worst of this storm is on out. This is going to be a quick-hitting 12 to 18-hour storm. Then we're going to get some lake effect snow bands after this. Kind of a broad look at how much snow to expect. We're going for 8 to 10 inches of snow now in western Maryland. Pretty wild. Heart of Pennsylvania, going to get a good bit of snow, anywhere from 6 to 10 inches of snow. And you can see the axis of this heavier snow right in here. But this is changing. This is updating as we speak. And they've really pushed some of the heavy snowfall totals into like Long Island, New York City now. So let's go on and just show you what a lot of people want to see. The individual graphics. This was updated. All these were updated a few to maybe just several hours ago. All right, so this could change still. Pittsburgh, inch or less. Still not believing that backside band much. Morgantown, inch or less. Uniontown, 1 to 2 inches of snow. Find where you are on the map, and that gives you a good general idea as of right now. National Weather Service out of Baltimore, Washington, they're starting to sneak some projected snowfall totals into the northern sections of Maryland. We'll have to watch to see if they kind of move it a little bit further south. But now they're going for like 5 to 8 inches of snow in Oakland. Cumberland, 3 to 4 inches of snow. So you're starting to bring some snowfall totals even into the higher elevations of Virginia. Just a little bit. So pretty wild stuff. Then we head up to State College. State College, 6 to 8 still. That hasn't changed much. The axis of the heaviest snow is going to be right here in the heart of PA. We'll see if this overachieves, but not a whole lot's changed. The only thing that's changed is Harrisburg's back up to 3 to 4 inches predicted. York, Lancaster, 1 to 2 inches. We call our Lancaster, in South Carolina, but I know y'all call things different everywhere depending on where you live. But this is what we're looking like in this area. Hopefully it shows your town on here. Buffalo, this is an area where it's dropped off. Remember, Buffalo is almost going to get 1 to 2 inches from this. Now, you're not calling for anything. So things change fast. Binghamton, remember yesterday, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Now you're back down to 3 to 4. And that's because we've had south trends with this. Scranton, 8 to 12 still. We even got this pocket in the Poconos of 12 to 18 inches of snow now. Monticello still 8 to 12. Not a whole lot's changed down here. We head on down. This is when things have changed. Mount Holly, you're now up to 1 to 2 inches of snow in Philadelphia. Trenton, 1 to 2 inches of snow. Reading, you're now to 4 to 6 inches of snow. This was updated about 4 a.m. this morning, just a few hours ago. Allentown, 6 to 8 inches. Mount Pocono, 12 to 18. Somerville, 4 to 6 inches of snow. Sussex, now up to 12 to 18. So things are changing. Shifted south. We'll see if we'll have a bump back up north today. We could. Happens a lot. But check this out. New York City, remember, they were just saying 1 to 2 inches of snow. Now you are at 6 to 8 inches of snow. If this happens, it'll be your best, I say best, but it'll be your highest winter storm as far as snowfall totals in the last 2 winters. So, here it comes. Newark, 6 to 8. And Long Island, just in general, 4 to 8 inches of snow. You head up the road, you start to get closer to maybe a foot of snow, especially up in the Catskills and the Poconos and Bridgeport, New Haven, now calling for 8 to 12 inches of snow. So, it's definitely increased further south now. Albany, these places have dropped, just 3 to 4 inches now. But you get on down here, Torrington, 12 to 18. Brattlesboro, still 6 to 8. Town, what is that? I can't even see what that, they kind of overlap some names. Manchester, 2 to 3 inches of snow. Bennington, 3 to 4. This still could tweak some, guys. I know you're thinking, man, they can't get it right, and it's 18 hours before the storm starts. It's a tough one. Weather's tough. Some people just think it's very cut and dry, and you should just know what's going to happen, almost like meteorologists actually control the weather. If I controlled the weather, you warm weather fans would hate me because it would be snowing a lot. 8 to 12 inches of snow in Boston hasn't changed. Hartford, about 6 to 8 inches of snow. But you got to think, this hasn't updated from this. Okay, this updated at 5 a.m. This was the last update as of 1 a.m. So let's actually see if this has changed a little bit. It hasn't. So some of these have increased in Connecticut. So if you're in Connecticut, I would pay more attention to what the National Weather Service in New York said. I want to mention for this area, folks, there's going to be brief blizzard conditions out on Cape Cod, especially when y'all flip the snow out here, which I think y'all start out as rain because y'all are just nosed out a little bit into the Atlantic Ocean. But guys, even Boston could get a 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gust. It's very possible. Southeast Mass, 30 to 40, 45. The closer you get out in the Cape Cod, obviously, the more the winds increase. We could get some power outages even out on Long Island. So brief blizzard conditions are possible in these areas. Head on up the road to New Hampshire, Maine. 6 to 8 inches of still forecast in Manchester, Concord, 4 to 6 inches of snow. Portsmouth, 8 to 12. Portland, 3 to 4. So there has been some tweaks up here just because the northern extent of this snow has not been forecast to move as far north. My folks in Atlanta, Atlantic, Canada. I was about to call y'all Atlanta. You move into tomorrow afternoon, snow begins to fall, and western sections of Nova Scotia, this axis of snow could make it all the way into southern sections of New Brunswick. The snow continues, affects Nova Scotia throughout, I would say, the afternoon period tomorrow. Then it begins to shift further. You got the hiccups. Further northeast starts to affect, Cape Breton Island, Prince Edward Island throughout the evening hour into the overnight hours. But I can tell you, the European isn't as worrisome looking as it looked a couple days ago, where it was really hitting you guys with feet of snow. But it does show a substantial winter storm moving into the southeastern sections of Newfoundland. But the low might actually get close enough to where it just brings rain in these regions right into here. And then that backside snow. It could just be a very snowy week for you folks, as you kind of just get this broad area of low pressure that affects everybody in this region. But as far as snowfall possibilities from the European in centimeters, a good 15 to as much as 30 centimeters of snow projected off the European. The closer you are on the southern shorelines of Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Cape Breton Island, Prince Edward Island. I don't think you're going to get a ton from this, but it could change. But Newfoundland, certainly, when you're talking feet, someone could get a foot and a half of snow from this. 30 to 50 centimeters of snow is possible. But, you still have differences here. You look at the GFS, and there's still some changes, but in general, they are about as locked in as they've ever been with this storm system. They are. So we're starting to get a general idea. If you count it in inches, a half a foot to a foot of snow is going to be widespread, I think, in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. I think this could change a little bit, but I don't know how your local forecasts do up here in Atlantic, Canada. I've been trying to do my best to just kind of keep you guys updated with this. So you'll kind of have to let me know what you end up getting up here as we move into the next couple of days. But kind of meant to show you this in the northeast frame. But this is what it looks like as far as watches and warnings up here in the northeast. But that's all I got, guys. Had made a lot better timing than I thought I was. But y'all have a great day. Fantastic day. God bless all y'all. I do not have an update, folks, on next weekend. I'm going to keep it 100% real with you guys. I was very excited about this pattern change. Very excited about this pattern change, and the rug got completely pulled out from under not just me, but a lot of people. But I'm not going to make this about me. I'm not going to make this about everybody else. I'm going to make this about what I discussed. I had high hopes on this pattern change coming up. I really did. I had really, really high hopes on it. I thought that if the models were showing something months in advance, and then it oozed into basically the long-range ensembles, and it was extending into it beautifully. It was a beautifully extension, kind of a handoff between the extended into the long-range ensembles. But you know what the long-range ensembles is. That's once you get inside of 15 days of a weather pattern trying to figure it out. And I thought, well, I didn't think this, but in a way I kind of thought there's no way we messed this up. Everything's been pointing to this, but we have messed it up. I'm not giving up necessarily on the time frame next weekend of interest, but I would say this: I don't think it's going to work out. I really don't. If I had to make a call for like areas of the southeast and the south, but that could change, guys. The models are flip flopping like crazy. For example, yesterday evening's GFS run showed snow, and I'll kind of show it to you real quick. It showed snow for. Let's see, yesterday's GFS run, let's back it all the way through. It wanted to try to show a wintry mix all the way down to Tallahassee, a wintry mix in South Georgia. It wanted to show snow all the way into Myrtle Beach, guys, all the way down to Charleston, okay? And then you look at this morning's run, and, it does not show it. So the pieces are on the table out there to make this work, but you really need, and I did not plan on talking about this at all, but I'm just kind of doing it on the fly. You really need this energy up here to combine with this energy. Or either you need this huge cold air press to kind of get out in front of the Gulf energy down here, which you just see in the kind of the lines and the vibrant colors. You need that cold air to kind of dive in before this energy moves in. And it just doesn't look like it's wanting to line up. And even after this, guys, it's not so much of what happens with the time frame, with this. It's really what I'm seeing after this that's just really discouraging if you're a winter weather fan. And, you look at the GFS ensemble with this, guys, and you kind of look at what happens with this and the evolution. And there's our chance right into here, right? I don't know if I buy it. And then you almost get ridging now. This was a time frame that was supposed to be golden for winter weather in the eastern U.S. Now you're starting to get ridging in the central and eastern U.S., and we're getting a trough out west. If this ends up being a full-fledged failure, I think that it would honestly think that it will be probably one of the biggest failures I've seen on models ever. But as you can tell, it's still flip-flopping. Like, this is the current run for the last several days of February. This was the run last night, so it had a trough over the west. And now the current run has a trough over the east. So it's still flip-flopping, guys. Is Mitch giving up on winter? No. I'm not at all. But I can tell you, this pattern out ahead does not look as good as I previously thought it was, to be completely honest with you. But it could change. It could. But part of what I do here, guys, is I give you my opinions, and sometimes my opinions are going to be completely wrong. I'm definitely not here to say I'm the best to do it. I think you guys know that. I try to take the humble approach. I'm not the best to do it. But sometimes I believe so wholeheartedly into something that I'm going to push my chips into it and say, I really think this is going to happen. And I don't know if it's going to happen now. So it's just kind of one of those things. You kind of learn from it. You learn from it if it doesn't end up happening. You kind of figure out what went wrong. And in the end of the day, I'm just going to practice a little bit better on keeping things 10 days and under. And that 7 to 10 day range, I think that you can show that just because it's getting close enough to really figure out what kind of patterns coming up. But I think that once you start to get past 10 days, there's no real point of showing it. And I did show it a lot, and I'll admit that, but I showed it just because I believed so much that this was coming for us. But there's just been some changes. So it could change right back. And we're still only at February 12th. It feels like we're at like February 20th right now because we've been talking about this and so much, but we need to just slow it down. And I say I need to slow it down and keep things kind of more so right in front of us. So with that being said, y'all guys have a great Monday. God bless all y'all.